Respect yourself, and others will respect you. Confucius. How many times have you felt lost among familiar faces or unstable between work and relationships just because of a cold glance or a dismissive comment? In this fast-paced life, everyone has moments of feeling hurt, disappointed, or exhausted, especially when facing disrespect, sometimes from family, co-workers, or even those we trust the most. That feeling isn't weakness, but a very real part of being human. Stoic philosophy, with the calmness of Marcus Aurelius, the discipline of Epictetus, and the clarity of Seneca, has given us powerful principles to remain unshaken in the face of contempt or injustice. So stay with me to the end of this journey, and you will discover 12 practical Stoic lessons, step by step, building inner strength, mastering emotions, and finding peace and genuine respect both from others and from yourself. 1. Humility. Humility. Have you ever felt underestimated just because you didn't try to prove yourself, or when you chose not to boast, you somehow ended up on the losing side? I've been there, sitting in a meeting where everyone was fighting for attention with their achievements. I chose silence and listened. In that moment, some people glanced at me as if I had nothing to be proud of. The truth is, I wanted to speak up to show that I was just as capable. But then I remembered Epictetus's words. It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. When we believe we know everything, there's no room left to grow. Pride often pushes us to prove ourselves, to shine loudly so no one dares look down on us. Yet the more we chase validation, the less control we keep over ourselves. Humility isn't self-diminishing. It's acknowledging our imperfections, welcoming growth, and understanding that we are only a small part of a bigger picture. Look around. Who gains the most respect at work? Not the one who constantly flaunts achievements, but the one who listens, encourages, gives credit, and admits mistakes when necessary. I chose humility, silently doing my work well, recognizing teammates' efforts, and not claiming success as mine alone. At first, I feared being overlooked, but then people began trusting me, approaching me for help. Even those who once saw me as invisible had to reconsider their views. That is the true power of humility. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors, unless with a view to some mutual benefit." Humility is the soil where respect takes root. It's not weakness, but quiet strength, helping you stand steady against pride, ego, and the noise of judgment. If you still believe you must be loud to earn respect, pause once, listen more, acknowledge others, and stay silent when unnecessary. Humility doesn't make you smaller. It makes you greater in the hearts of others. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you cultivate through self-mastery. Today, observe yourself in every conversation. Let humility lead, and you'll realize that respect grows naturally when forced validation fades. 2. Setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. You cannot expect others to respect you if you don't respect yourself first. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's a declaration that you understand your worth and are willing to protect it. No one has the right to invade your personal space unless you allow it. This is difficult, especially in workplaces where people expect you to always say yes, even when you're overloaded. But constant compliance leads others to devalue your time and your voice. Look at Marie Curie, a two-time Nobel laureate. As a young woman in a biased scientific world, she wasn't afraid to say no to demands that went against her values. She rejected prestigious offers that undermined scientific integrity and refused to let others diminish her contribution to research. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Boundaries aren't impulsive. They stem from knowing who you are and what matters. I used to take on extra work, answer emails at night, and please everyone. The outcome? Burnout, confusion, and the constant feeling of being overlooked. Every time I said yes when I wanted to say no, I betrayed myself. Setting boundaries didn't make people dislike me. It made them respect me more. Start small. Decline unreasonable requests. Schedule your time clearly. Speak up when a line is crossed. Not everyone will like it, but they will respect it. Self-respect isn't a slogan. It's a daily behavior. Protect your principles even when misunderstood. Respect begins within. Set your boundaries today, and peace will follow. With respect from others and from yourself. Gratitude. 3. Gratitude. It's strange how gratitude can make life feel much fuller. A friend of mine, Evan, taught me this. Whenever someone asked, "How are you?" he would reply simply, "I'm good. I'm grateful to have health, work, and loved ones." It sounded ordinary, but his life hadn't always been easy. He once lost his job, faced family pressure, and drifted apart from friends. Yet, every night, he wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. Sometimes just a meal, a breeze, or a hug from his daughter. We're taught to chase more, compare more, and achieve more until scarcity becomes familiar. Gratitude breaks that cycle. A grateful person isn't bothered by comparison because they already feel abundant inside. Gratitude builds an inner fortress no insult can shake. Even a small moment of gratitude can shift your mindset from negativity toward appreciation. You start seeing good things you once overlooked. Evan once said, "Some days fall apart, clients complain, co-workers clash, but I'm grateful I learned something and I survived it." Gratitude isn't denial. It's choosing not to let small frustrations own your mind. The philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." When you stop seeking more from outside, you realize you already have enough within. A few minutes daily to journal gratitude softens the heart. Today may not be perfect, but there is always something to be thankful for. Make gratitude a habit. Start with one small thing, a meal, a smile, a calm morning. Gratitude makes you happier, stronger, and less shaken by disrespect. No one belittles a heart that lives in abundance. Kindness. 4. Kindness. There are small things in life that seem insignificant, yet they can change an entire day, even a whole life. I once knew a man who worked as a security guard at the apartment building where I used to live. He wasn't talkative, but every time we met he greeted me with a sincere smile. One evening I returned home late, exhausted, and he simply said, "Rough day, huh? Take care of yourself." Just one gentle comment, one kind look, and the heaviness in me lifted. At first I thought he was just being polite, but later I noticed he treated everyone the same way, the elderly, children, and even those who barely returned his smile. Gradually, everyone in the building admired and respected him, many even offering help whenever he needed it. In a competitive and skeptical society, people often mistake kindness for weakness. They fear that being gentle will lead to being used or disrespected. But what I saw in that security guard was something different, unwavering kindness, regardless of who he faced or how they responded. That was not softness, but inner strength, the ability to control one's reactions, even in unpleasant moments. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. I once witnessed a resident shout at him harshly, saying disrespectful things. Yet he remained calm, listened, and responded softly, not out of fear or submission, but because he understood that responding with kindness was the only way to protect his peace and the only way to earn lasting respect. His composure made others reflect on their own behavior. If you think kindness is only for peaceful days, try being kind when you are tired. When you gain nothing in return, you will witness something miraculous. Every time you choose a kind action, you not only calm someone else's tension, you also bring peace to your own heart, becoming stronger against judgment. A small act of kindness can change relationships, shift how others see you, and bring you deep respect in return. Start with one gentle gesture, a word of encouragement, a look of compassion, a small act of help. Don't let fear of being taken advantage of turn you cold. Give without expecting immediate return. You'll be surprised by how much more you receive, and most importantly, you'll build inner strength no one can take away. If you've ever been touched by a small act of kindness, share your story in the comments. Let's inspire one another and make this world a kinder place, one moment at a time. 5. Patience. Patience. There are days when a single harsh comment is enough to send heat rushing to your face, your reasons slipping from your hands, and the urge to snap back surfacing instantly. I once worked with an older man, tough, experienced, not particularly warm, and certainly not the kind of mentor everyone looks up to. Yet there was something remarkable about him, his patience, calm even when provoked or insulted. In a meeting one day, a young colleague openly criticized his plan with rather harsh words. All eyes turned to him, expecting anger or confrontation. Instead, he simply looked at the young man, nodded, and said, "Thank you for the feedback. I'll think about it." No argument, no defensiveness, no attempt to belittle the other. The room fell silent, tension dissolved, and the young colleague softened. After the meeting, I asked why he didn't defend himself. He smiled and said, "Reacting out of impulse only shows weakness. Patience helps me see the real issue." His words reminded me of Zeno of Citium, founder of Stoicism. Well-being is attained little by little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself. Impatience damages reputation not only in others' eyes, but within your own. Every time you lose your temper, you give away a piece of your self-control. Patience isn't silent suffering, it's the art of pausing, observing, and choosing wisely. When insulted, breathe deeply and ask yourself, will reacting right now solve anything, or will it make things worse? Just a few seconds of pause can reveal someone's motives or show you the situation isn't as serious as it feels. Practice patience in small daily moments, being criticized, facing delays, or dealing with irritation. Each time you choose patience, you protect your dignity and build inner strength that naturally earns respect. Calmness, restraint, and slow response form the foundation that keeps you unshaken by others. A single pause sets you apart. Patience doesn't make you weak, it proves self-mastery. It earns you respect and makes you proud of yourself anywhere you stand. Non-attachment. 6. Non-attachment. Sometimes just one impatient response can destroy everything you've built. I once worked with a middle-aged man, short-tempered, yet honest. During a meeting, when someone criticized a minor mistake, he immediately fired back and argued fiercely. The room tensed and people avoided eye contact. Minutes later, he realized his overreaction and apologized, but words once spoken cannot be taken back. He carried regret for days. The story is familiar to many. Impatience often puts us at a disadvantage, damaging self-image and self-respect. Patience isn't weakness, it is strength waiting for the right moment, like an old tree standing firm in storms. When insulted, reacting instantly is easiest, but that's a trap of instinct. Reason whispers, pause, observe, consider. As Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. Respect is not built by sharp comebacks, but by calmness and emotional control. When I asked the man what he learned, he said, "If I had stayed silent for just 5 more seconds, everything would have been different." A simple sentence, yet a profound lesson. Patience gives you time to see the truth. Not every insult deserves a reaction. Sometimes people hurt us because they are hurt themselves or overwhelmed by pressure. The key is not to tolerate everything silently, but to know when to speak and when to wait. Most situations become clearer when you slow down, and when you do, it becomes harder for others to provoke or disrespect you. Practice slowing down. Count to 5 before responding. Sip water. Breathe deeply. Small actions, enormous power. Do not let yourself be dragged into someone else's emotional storm. Patience is the foundation of respect. People respect you not because you win arguments, but because you remain composed amidst chaos. Patience is armor, protecting you from impulsive reactions and outside pressure. When you can pause and observe, you preserve your dignity and earn lasting respect. One calm moment can be stronger than 1,000 heated words. Right speech. 7. Right speech. Sometimes just a casual remark can crack a relationship you spent years building. I used to be the type who said whatever came to mind, especially when stressed or hurt. Once during a meeting, I was so frustrated with a colleague who kept avoiding responsibility that I openly criticized him in front of everyone. In that moment, I felt like I'd won, as if I was standing up for what was right. But once the anger passed, I only felt heaviness. The work atmosphere grew tense, and that colleague almost stopped cooperating with me altogether. That's when I realized the power, or more precisely the destructive power of words. You might think words are just fleeting air, but in reality, they're like silent cracks in stone growing larger with time. The Stoics, especially philosopher Zeno of Citium, reminded us better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. Every time you lie, exaggerate, or lash out with harsh words, you lower your own value. On the other hand, when you know when to be silent, when to apologize, and dare to speak the truth with kindness, you're building a reputation that nothing can destroy. We live in an era where anyone can speak up anytime, anywhere. But the more we speak, the more opportunities there are to hurt others and ourselves. I learned to pause before saying anything. I put myself in the listener's position and ask, how would I feel if I heard this? Many times I chose silence or only said what was truly necessary. Sometimes just a sincere thank you or a simple, "I'm sorry, I misspoke," can save a relationship teetering on the brink. One important thing I've learned: listen more than you speak. The most respected person is not the one who talks the most, but the one who listens most deeply. Silence, when used at the right moment, is more powerful than any eloquent argument. From experience, after choosing silence instead of arguing, things always felt lighter and relationships gradually healed. Always choose to speak truthfully, kindly, and think carefully before you speak. Don't be afraid of silence. Practice apologizing and saying thank you more often. Right speech is like a guiding light, not blinding, but warm enough for people to want to draw near. If you want others to respect you, start by respecting your own words. You can start changing today with just one timely word or one timely silence. That is the key to building inner value and receiving the respect you deserve. If you've ever experienced a situation where a single sentence changed a relationship for better or worse, share your experience in the comments. Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts or a lesson you've learned. Who knows, you might help someone rethink the way they communicate every day. 8. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Some wounds don't appear on the skin, but linger quietly in the heart day after day. I once harbored resentment for an entire year, all because an old friend betrayed my trust. At first I thought anger would make me stronger, would protect me from further hurt. But in truth, each time I thought back on it, I only felt exhausted and heavy. Every morning, my mind was shackled to that old story, like a shadow dragging behind me that I couldn't shake off. Resentment is a chain. The more you cling to it, the deeper you sink into negative emotions, allowing others' actions to govern your inner peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to forget everything, nor does it mean letting others continue to hurt you. Forgiveness is freeing yourself from the weight of the past, choosing lightness so you can move forward. Try entrusting all your disappointments to God. Sometimes forgiveness is handing over the burden to a greater power, then focusing on living your own life with lightness and peace. Stoics teach that you can't control others, only your own attitude and reaction. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. As Seneca said, sometimes it's our own uncontrolled anger that wounds us more deeply than anyone else's actions. Forgiveness is not because others deserve it, but because you deserve to be free from that burden. When I started to forgive, the first thing I gained wasn't a change from the other person, but a relief inside myself. It felt like rain washing away the dust that had built up on my soul. Forgiveness is also a way to protect your self-worth. When you let go of resentment, you find yourself freer in the face of others' judgment or criticism. You're no longer letting others' feelings and decisions steer your life. People who know how to forgive are usually calm and steady. They choose to learn from pain, redraw boundaries, and move forward with self-respect. Don't let yourself drown in what's already past. Try writing down what's hurt you. Then ask, does holding on to this resentment help me? If not, let it go or give it up to God, to time, to the peace you deserve. You don't need to agree with others' mistakes, but you do have the right to free yourself from their influence. Forgiveness is an act of courage. It doesn't change the past, but it changes your present and future. Today, try letting go of something old and step toward the light. When you do, you'll find your heart lighter, and respect from yourself and others will return most naturally. 9. Compassion. Compassion. In today's world where everyone is preoccupied with their own worries, compassion seems like a luxury. I once worked with a manager whom everyone considered cold and strict. But then one day, when a young employee made a serious mistake, instead of lashing out or punishing him, the manager called him into the office and simply listened. No criticism, just silence, a nod, and a gentle question. "Are you really okay?" The young man nearly broke down, sharing his pressure, fears, and all the confusion he'd never dared express to anyone. It turns out that behind someone's mistakes is often a long story of hurt and insecurity. I clearly saw that compassion isn't about being soft or lenient. It's the strength of someone who can put themselves in another's shoes, who dares to listen without judging. Just as Seneca said, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for a kindness. That manager not only salvaged a relationship, but also built loyalty and respect from his team. No one respects an unfeeling person who only demands without empathy. One thing I've learned, to truly empathize with others, you must first be kind and forgiving with yourself. When you accept your own mistakes and flaws, you'll look at others' faults with a more generous heart. Negative feelings dissolve. You feel lighter, and you'll find it easier to open up to those around you. Compassion is a quiet strength. It keeps you from being swept away by anger, disappointment, or unnecessary arguments. Start by truly listening, by putting yourself in the other person's position before you speak or react. Sometimes just asking, "Are you okay?" or "Is there anything I can help with?" is enough to soothe a wounded soul. And when you don't judge, people feel safe to open up. Relationships become more solid and respect grows from both sides. Don't be afraid to show compassion, even if it's just a look, a question, or the right silence. Compassion helps you cross invisible boundaries between people. A compassionate person not only earns respect, but also builds an inner world of peace and strength where no one can shake you with a cold word or distant gaze. Try opening your heart and showing more compassion. Who knows, a small act today could change someone else's life and your own. Self-reflection. 10. Self-reflection. Sometimes the biggest obstacle to our own growth is ourselves. Once I failed an important project at first, I made all kinds of excuses. My teammates didn't cooperate. The client changed requirements and the market was unpredictable. But late at night, sitting alone in silence, I had to face the simplest question. Did I really do my best? Is there something I haven't seen or dared to admit? The first feeling was discomfort, even shame, as I stripped away my weaknesses, shortcomings, and overconfidence. Yet, the more honest I was with myself, the lighter and more proactive I felt. I began to practice daily self-reflection. Sometimes it was just jotting down a few lines in a journal before bed, or sitting quietly for 5 minutes to review the day. The Stoics always emphasized the power of introspection. Philosopher Socrates wrote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." If you want genuine respect, start by respecting yourself, daring to face your weaknesses, your bad habits, your fears, and your deepest motivations. Don't confuse self-reflection with self-blame. Reflection is not about tormenting yourself or dwelling on failure to inflict pain. It's about honestly seeing what happened, keeping the lessons, leaving behind unnecessary sorrow, and moving forward with a better spirit. Those who dare to admit their faults and correct them are truly strong and admirable. You'll see that when you dare to say, "I was wrong here, I'll do differently next time," others will look at you with more respect, not contempt or ridicule. Set aside time each day, even if only a few minutes, to ask yourself, what have I realized about myself, my strengths, weaknesses, positive or negative emotions? Don't be afraid to face the truth, for that is the shortest path to maturity and self-mastery. Each time you reflect, you're clearing away darkness in your mind, making room for peace and growing confidence. You can start today. Just ask yourself, did I live better than I did yesterday? Whatever your answer, it will lead you toward real change. That is the solid foundation. So no one can easily look down on you because you've built respect from within. The Stoics believed that our character is shaped not by external events, but by how honestly we examine ourselves and learn from our experiences. By turning inward regularly, we identify the patterns that hold us back, distinguish between what is within our control and what is not, and align our actions with reason and virtue. In this way, introspection becomes the foundation for true self-mastery, resilience, and lasting respect from ourselves and from others. Mindfulness. 11. Mindfulness. Staying mindful amid a chaotic life is not just a choice, it's true strength. Those who are easily offended are often led by emotion, reacting instinctively rather than rationally. Mindfulness in the Stoic sense isn't about avoiding emotion, but about clearly observing each movement of your mind. You recognize anger, hurt, or anxiety as they arise, but you don't let those feelings dictate your actions. Remember the words of Socrates, "The most important thing is not life, but the good life." For me, living well means being able to control myself in every situation, even when judged or criticized. There are situations you've likely faced many times. Being criticized in front of others or receiving a stressful, unpleasant message at work. The usual reaction is irritation, rising anger, the impulse to respond instantly, or allowing the mood to sour your entire day. But when you pause, take a slow breath and truly observe what you're feeling before reacting, you realize things are rarely as serious as they first appear. That's when mindfulness begins to speak. You become clear-minded enough to watch emotions arrive and fade, like clouds drifting across the sky, while you remain steady at your core. In those moments, I've learned to place my hand over my chest and take 3 deep breaths whenever irritation or hurt starts to surface. Instead of reacting immediately, I observe my feelings. Naming my emotions helps separate me from anger and choose wiser actions. Many times I realized the person offending me was just dealing with their own insecurities, and I did not need to carry their burden. Mindfulness also means focusing on the present, not letting the past haunt or worries about the future crowd your mind. When working, I silence notifications, focusing only on the task at hand. When talking with someone, I look them in the eye and truly listen instead of just preparing my response. That full presence not only helps me master my emotions, but also naturally earns the respect of others. Practice mindfulness every day, starting with small acts, breathing deeply, observing emotions, focusing on the present, and consciously choosing your response. The more you practice, the less you're affected by the disrespect or negativity of others. Master your mind, and you master how you live and how others treat you. Mindfulness is the foundation for regaining peace, freedom, and real self-respect, no matter how turbulent life gets. From a Stoic perspective, mindfulness is not just a technique, it is a principle of wisdom. The Stoics teach that our judgments, not external events, determine our emotions. By observing our thoughts and reactions without attachment, we prevent ourselves from being enslaved by impulses or the whims of others. This conscious awareness allows us to act according to reason rather than habit, to respond rather than react, and to live in harmony with our values. In essence, mindfulness is the bridge between understanding the world and mastering yourself, creating a life of inner stability and enduring respect. Emotional control. 12. Emotional control. You can't choose what others will say to you, but you can always choose how you respond. That's the true power Stoic philosophy aims for, the ability to control your emotions and preserve your values through every challenge. I witnessed this clearly through my old friend Neil, a man once notorious for his temper at work. Some days just one displeasing comment from a sea orca would send Neil into a heated debate, raising his voice or even walking out of meetings. The result, people gradually avoided him while Neil often felt misunderstood, out of control and hurt. Eventually, Neil realized that if he kept acting on impulse, he would not only damage his own reputation, but also lose others' respect. He started reading about Stoicism, learning to recognize each emotion as it arose. Whenever he felt angry or insulted, Neil no longer reacted immediately. He paused and asked himself, "Is this really important? Will my reaction help anything? Do I need to speak now?" Just a few seconds pause changed everything. That small restraint gave him time to observe and choose a more fitting response. Sometimes just a smile, sometimes silence, or a calm, clear answer. Emotional control isn't about repressing or denying your feelings. It begins with acknowledging your anger or sadness, then consciously choosing how to respond, rather than allowing emotions to pull you off course. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, believed that no man is truly free unless he is the master of himself. The more you allow negative emotions to lead, the more you become reactive, easily provoked by others, losing composure and self-respect. Train yourself to observe your emotions as they arise. Label them quickly, then pause before speaking or acting. One simple habit is journaling your feelings daily. Another is reminding yourself, I control my reactions. Neil shared that after months of practice, not only did his temper improve, but his co-workers treated him with greater respect. His relationships became calmer and more authentic because small issues no longer controlled him. In the end, emotional control is not about pleasing others. It's about protecting your inner peace and personal value. The calmer you remain under pressure, the harder it becomes for anyone to shake or diminish you. Each moment you pause before reacting strengthens self-mastery day by day, situation by situation. This is the foundation for standing firm through life's storms while maintaining respect from others and from yourself. Are you ready to begin? Starting today, choose to govern your reactions instead of letting emotions govern you. Conclusion. When you reflect on these 12 Stoic lessons, you'll realize that respect does not come from words, status, or achievements. It comes from how you regulate your emotions, manage your reactions, and live according to your values every day. Humility, boundaries, gratitude, kindness, patience, non-attachment, right speech, forgiveness, compassion, self-reflection, mindfulness, and emotional discipline. These principles are not abstract theories. They are practical tools to help you remain grounded and build an inner strength that cannot be ignored. We'd appreciate your feedback. Please rate this video on a 5-level satisfaction scale by leaving a comment with the number that best reflects your experience. 1 indicates significant room for improvement. 2, not very helpful. 3, good, somewhat useful but could improve. 4, learned a lot, highly valuable. 5, extremely helpful, life-changing content. Your input helps us create better content and guide you more effectively on the Stoic journey. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And if you found these insights useful, don't forget to hit like, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content on this Stoic journey with us. Check out the next videos at the end of the screen. You won't want to miss the next steps in building inner strength and living more resiliently every day.